Learning goals and success criteria are critical pieces of information students need to be successful learners. Students and teachers must hold a common understanding of what is to be learned and what successful achievement looks like. With explicit goals and criteria, students have the beginnings of what they need to become independent, self-monitoring learners. Success criteria are standards or rules which students use to make judgments about the quality of performance. Students use success criteria to determine what progress they are making toward achieving the learning goals. Criteria show what success looks like, and when used to assess, give both the teacher and the student feedback about learning. Whereas learning goals answer the question, "Where am I going?" Success criteria help students to answer the question, "How am I going?" When teachers help students understand the purpose and use of criteria, students grow increasingly more independent in being able to monitor their progress and make decisions about next steps in learning.
So now that we've had a chance to look at the assignment briefly, let's talk about the success criteria. What are success criteria? We've been using those a lot the last few months.
Guidelines to help you do the assignment.
A success criteria is a guide to your learning goal.
It helps us to realize what we need to do so we know when we're doing well.
We use the success criteria to help us with our next steps, because if we didn't do something on the success criteria, then that would be our next step for what we would do next time.
With the learning goals established, teachers determine how students will demonstrate their learning by asking them to perform a task.
So let's take a brief look at the assignment before we talk about our criteria for success. You will need 2 10 by 10 centimeter grids, 1 rough copy and 1 final copy. Your job is to design a floor plan for an apartment.
Next, they determine the success criteria. What characteristics, traits, or qualities will they look for in the student's performance? The achievement chart for each subject provides a starting point for identifying the criteria. In the revised curriculum documents in the section on assessment and evaluation of student achievement, teachers will find a list of descriptors and be able to determine the specific descriptors of effectiveness for a particular product or performance. Things such as accuracy, logic, significance, or depth. Descriptors help clarify for students the characteristics of the performance, which is the focus of the assessment. Looking at samples of student performance is another effective way to identify the success criteria.
So I brought some of the work from first semester of my students for this project.
Good idea. I think we could probably use this to help develop the success criteria. We want them to succeed. Let's tell them what we're looking for to get success.
Collaborating with colleagues to develop assessments and moderated marking are some ways to reach consensus on criteria. Once teachers have identified them, the criteria are set out in an assessment tool, such as a rubric, checklist, or T-chart, and shared with the students. The criteria can also be co-constructed with students. Teachers bring a deep knowledge of standards and criteria to the assessment task, but they often remain unarticulated. Students are more successful and more engaged when they are clear on what success looks like on a given task. As they gain a deeper understanding of the criteria, their focus shifts from grades and marks.
How many marks is this worth?
Does this count?
To a focus on learning.
All right, Matthew, so can you tell me where you think you are in terms of today's learning goal?
Well, I can sort and organize the different information and use it to improve my opinion.
Okay. Is there some specific side for your opinion that you think you need to get some more information on, or are you thinking just overall you need to get a little more information?
Yeah, I think I need to get a little more information for the 4.
Okay.
Increasing the mindfulness side.
Excellent. We were doing peer assessment and it went nowhere. They'd read their friend's work and say, oh, yeah, that's great. And they wouldn't apply any criteria to it. Same for self-assessment. They'd look over their own work and think they were done. Well, now that they have success criteria, when they're looking at someone's work, whether it's their own or a classmate's, there's focus and they know exactly what they're looking for, and they can tell their peer, this is missing, this is what's here, here's what you need to do to get yourself to the next step to be more effective, and it's really worked for them.
A viewer's guide has been developed to enhance your professional learning while viewing this video. The learning goals and success criteria inventory in this viewer's guide is intended to help assess your current practice, guide your professional learning, and measure your growth over time as you continue to use this resource.